hoops.
We're about 15% of the way through the NBA season, and while your team may not be as good or as bad, thank goodness, as how they started, every single team has one fatal flaw. And at first, we were gonna call this video the reason why your team won't win an NBA championship. But first, every championship team has some sort of a flaw. Just this last year, the Toronto Raptors only had one superstar in Kawhi Leonard. Normally, championship teams have 2 or 3. And the Warriors never had a true dominant starting center. In this video, we're talking about the Eastern Conference, going over all 15 teams. If you want to check out the Western Conference, that link is down in the description or the link at the end of the video. Hey guys, it's Casey Kieran from the AM Hoops YouTube channel. We are growing this channel. Please hit us with a subscribe, coming out with 3 quality NBA videos every week. And if you love the league, check out the AM Hoops podcast. It's for people who want to watch every game every night, but they have, a life. So Monday through Friday, whenever you wake up, guaranteed, we go over every single NBA game. And we start with the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks have no second scorer who's reliable. That's one thing that we've learned here at the beginning of the season with John Collins out with that PED suspension. Literally, if Trae Young isn't going off like he did for 42 points against Denver, they probably aren't going to win a game. In fact, they've got 6 players in their rotation on a nightly basis shooting under 30% from downtown, which is a problem because they are a 3-point shooting team. The Boston Celtics have no quality center. Al Horford lost in free agency. They traded Aaron Baines for cap space, which they needed, and they spent well, Kemba Walker. And while they've gotten by with Enes Kanter and Daniel Tice here to start the year, the truth is, when the playoffs come and the games matter most, they're gonna be banging around in the East with the likes of Giannis Antetokounmpo or Joel Embiid in a 7-game series. Bottom line, this Celtics team is not only getting away with their fatal flaw right now, they are impressive, but they will need to make a trade before the deadline. The Brooklyn Nets have a serious flaw closing out games. Literally, if they fixed this issue, the Nets would have started the year 9-3 instead of 5-8. On a road trip to start the season, they lost leads at Utah and Denver. Then they came all the way back from down 20 against Phoenix, and they lost every single time. And I know that the offense is having some trouble catching up, inserting Kyrie Irving into that starting 5. Of course, that's a huge change because he dominates the ball. That's understandable. But what about the defense? It's a huge flaw that's allowed multiple double-digit leads to fade. The Charlotte Hornets backup Devontae Graham is better than the starting point guard Terry Rozier. Now this sounds like a quality problem, and it is to a degree, but what a bad look. I mean, this front office led by ex-Lakers GM Mitch Kupchak let Kemba Walker walk for nothing when they knew they weren't going to re-sign him for all that big money. And what did they do with the cap space that they had? Well, they signed Terry Rozier, 3 years, $58 million. And it turns out his backup, Devontae Graham, out of nowhere is outplaying him, and Graham is making $4 million over 3 years. It is a quality problem, but for a building team, wouldn't it have been nice to not spend money at a position that you're already set at? The Chicago Bulls, head coach Jim Boylen. All right, now I'm not a guy who says fire this guy, fire that guy, because I mean, this is a real person, probably with kids in school, a mortgage payment, a family. So I'll just let the stats do the talking. In his first 72 games as head coach, the Bulls were 21-51. That includes only 5 wins against winning teams. And throwing your players under the bus after a loss can't help.
On a Saturday night in Chicago, I didn't like the way we started. And I can't play for them.
And then there's how the team progresses throughout the game. We hear a lot about coaching adjustments, right? I mean, in the first half, a coach or his staff will see something, they'll tweak it, and then the second half, they come out with a slightly different game plan. Well, the Chicago Bulls get worse, not only first half to second half, but they get worse from the first quarter to the second quarter to the third and the fourth. That's coaching, folks. The Cleveland Cavaliers, their biggest problem was that halfway decent start. The Cavs actually started this year okay. They look competitive in games. Tristan Thompson even uttered the P word in the locker room after one such game. Playoffs. And if they're that delusional to think that this roster can make the playoffs, they will not make the one move that could set them up for the future, and that's trading Kevin Love. Trading Kevin Love would mean we are all in for tanking, And as long as this team thinks they're making the playoffs, clearly they are not trying to tank. The Detroit Pistons. Their biggest flaw and issue is a massive drop-off defensively. I mean, this was a team that was 12th in defense last year. This year they are 27th. They have awful on-ball defenders who give up a ton of points on dribble penetration to opposing point guards. I'm talking .988 points per possession. And if you don't know what that means, it's bad. And on pick and rolls, they're allowing an insane 1.284 points per possession to the roll man. This team looks like they're gonna have a hard time getting back to the playoffs. The Indiana Pacers will have a limited time to build chemistry. Now, 40% of the league was a free agent last year, and the Indiana Pacers certainly took advantage of that. They brought in some really good players, including Malcolm Brogdon. They moved Domantas Sabonis into the starting lineup, 7 new faces. Point is, they've got a lot to fit in here and work together. And as if they didn't have enough issues trying to gel an entirely new unit in some cases, they were hit with the injury bug big time. Out for multiple games, obviously, Victor Oladipo, Miles Turner, Jeremy Lamb, Goga Bitadze, and Edmund Sumner, their best guy off the bench. At some point, all these guys are gonna get healthy, but how big of an issue will it be for them to build chemistry before the playoffs? The Miami Heat have a serious dependence on rookies. I mean, it's been one of the best stories to start the year. Kendrick Nunn, Rookie of the Year candidate. How good is Tyler Hero? What about second-year player Duncan Robinson? I mean, these guys all rank high as stat leaders on this Miami Heat team, but what's gonna happen when they hit that rookie wall? The Milwaukee Bucks have serious foul trouble for Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, yes, the Bucks are rolling, and Giannis is stuffing the box score. He is leading in the MVP odds, but he has fouled out of 3 games already. That matches his entire total of last year, including the playoffs. He averages the 5th most personal fouls per game of qualified players. That will not fly in the postseason, and at this point, Coach Bud literally does not know what to say.
There was 5 offensive fouls tonight. Are you at a loss for kind of what to tell him at this point on the offensive end?
Yes.
The New York Knicks, among their many, many problems, trying to pick one, their shooting is awful. All of their stopgap free agent veteran signings are having career lows across the board. And right now, the stats say the Knicks are last in field goal percentage and 3rd to last in offensive rating, but at least they're first in awkward press conferences.
We haven't played at the level we expected to play at.
The Orlando Magic have an awful offense. Well, at least they used to have an awful offense. They have turned it around recently, but that's a small sample size. The larger sample size says historically bad to start the year. They were 96.6 points per 100 possessions. That would have been the worst in the NBA since the 2014-15 process Sixers. They were trying to lose games. Orlando's trying to get back to the playoffs. The Philadelphia 76ers do not have consistent shooters. And that is a problem on a team with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, who could use some shooting ability himself. Embiid actually said so himself this year in an interview. Kinda awkward. We can all see it when we watch Sixers games, but the numbers prove it. They're 23rd in the percentage of points scored from 3. The bottom line for this team is they either need to make some trades for some shooters, or they need to change the scheme altogether, which could be a serious issue for a team with championship aspirations. The Toronto Raptors have an issue with depth. I mean, before they had injuries to Serge Ibaka and Kyle Lowry, Nick Nurse was rolling out an 8-man rotation. We knew that wasn't gonna last. And they've gotten great games out of guys like Chris Boucher, Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, and Terrence Davis lately. And while those guys are great underdog stories, believe me, there is only one Pascal Siakam on this team. And the Washington Wizards have the worst defense in the NBA. And how bad is that defense? Well, at one point, they led the league in points per possession. That's right, by one metric, the Wizards had the best offense. Like, your defense is so bad that you can have one of the best offenses, but still the worst record in the league. Like, that is bad. So, every team in the East does have a flaw. But again, every championship team has had a flaw. So now that you know your teams, keep your eye on the NBA trade deadline, February 7th. Support AM Hoops and click subscribe. Don't miss a weekly NBA video.